I call to order this meeting of the Coweta County Board of Education, Agenda 786. It's 6:30 p.m., Tuesday, March 14th, 2023. Before we go to the next action item, please remember during our moment of silence, Herman Fletcher. He was a longtime system administrator and principal who recently passed, and then Miss Sue Brown, who's a longtime music educator and former member of the Coweta County Board of Education. Please stand for a Pledge of Allegiance and moment of silence.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. Happy Women's History Month, everyone. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? No discussion. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Any opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Recognitions, Dr. Horton.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. At this time, I'll call on Public Information Officer Dean Jackson to bring you a couple recognitions. Mr. Jackson.
Thank you, Dr. Horton, board members. First recognition tonight is of students from Coweta County who have been selected to attend this year's All-State Chorus. We have 6 different students from both high schools and middle schools have been selected for this prestigious participation. And I'd like to ask them all to come down. If we could, we have a number of administrators, students, and chorus teachers who are here with us tonight. And I'm going to sort of do this in 2 stages. But what I'd like to do is I'd like to call, I believe it's Christy LeNave, who's here, assistant principal from East Coweta. I'd like to ask each one of the administrators who are here from the schools, East Coweta High School, Arnold Middle School, Bass Middle, and Lee Middle, to introduce the folks they have here tonight. So I'm going to turn it over to you first.
Thank you, Dr. Horton and Dr. Guy, and the board. I am honored to be here. I'm Christy LeNave, assistant principal at East Coweta and over the Fine Arts Department. It has been a pleasure to work with Christy Howard for the last 12 years at East Coweta. She puts together programs for helping out with the Black History Month program, the weekly alma mater singing, numerous concerts throughout the year, and she has prepared the one high school student who was nominated for this and received recognition for this. So I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Howard at this time.
Thank you. I'd like to recognize Alexander Rice. He's a 3-year All-State Chorus member and the only high schooler selected from Coweta County this year. And for those of you that don't know, I'll save the other chorus teachers a moment. This is an audition process that is extremely rigorous. These students have to sing, in high school, Italian arias in front of judges. They have to sight sing music where they get it and 30 seconds later they sing it. So it's the elite singers of Georgia. So congratulations to Alexander for this year, and for the other 2 years he's also made it.
Good evening. I'm Cindy Bennett, principal at Blake Bass Middle School, and I'd like to recognize our choral director and our 2 students from Bass Middle School. Our choral director is Kelsey Armstrong, and our 2 students, 7th grader Charlotte Myers and 8th grade Avery Kearney, for being here with us tonight. It's no small feat to be recognized for All-State Chorus at the middle school level. So congratulations to these students and to Miss Armstrong as well.
Good afternoon. My name is Jamal Kemp, principal at Lee Middle School. I get the privilege to introduce to you all 2 outstanding students at Lee Middle School. Not only can they sing, but they are 2 straight A students. If you missed last night, they got opportunity last night to sing with the rest of their peers at the Hawks game. It was a treat. I know Mr. Robertson, you were present. Thank you for coming. They did an outstanding job. We are proud of our students from Lee Middle School. They are Ryan Daly, 8th grade student, and Natalie Howard, 8th grade student as well. And I would also like to introduce our choral director, Ms. DeLacy Wilkins. Thank you for your leadership as well. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I am LaWanda James, Assistant Principal at Arnold Middle School. I'm delighted to be here tonight on behalf of our principal, Dr. Patrick Sullivan, and all the students and staff at Arnold Middle School. I'm here in great company with our choral director, Miss Robin White, who does a fabulous job anytime she's working with students. So we're very proud of all the work that she does at Arnold. I'm going to turn the mic over to her so that she can present our all-state participant.
Thank you very much. I'm very happy to introduce Madeline McCrary for making All-State. She is in the 8th grade. It's her first year to try out for All-State. I knew in 6th grade when she was virtual that she was going to do great things. And when she came 7th grade and she just really showed a love for music, I was so excited when she tried out for All-State Chorus this year, and she made it, and she worked very diligently. Unfortunately, she will be going to East Coweta. You get to gain her. So anyway, but I'm very happy for Madeline. She did a great job.
Would you join your student? What we'll do and just, go ahead.
That the Arnold to East Coweta pipeline is strong. So congratulations, guys.
We want to make sure we get a picture of everybody here together. I'm going to keep it consistent. If we could have the choral directors stand to the left of your students, your left, I think, that's right. My right, your left.
Has a daughter standing here before us who she is a wonderful music educator, and her daughter now is All-State. It is so difficult to get this high up in music. For you to get it on your first try, just exceptional music students. Congratulations.
If I could, everybody move in as close as possible if we could, so we can get everyone in here. And, sorry, ready. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3. That actually does it. Just want to say, because I'm glad, Ms. Howard, that you were able to say that. This is a great distinction. We're going to have our All-State Band students join us next month. So congratulations to each one of you for your accomplishments. Thank you. Our next recognition tonight is of Northgate High School for our core business. In fact, I believe they have Family and Consumer Science here who have teamed up with their cafeteria. And we have Principal Ashley Wilkes who will introduce.
Good evening, how are y'all? My name's Ashley Wilkes, I'm the principal of Northgate High School. Recognizing that the 5-year Coweta County Strategic Plan emphasizes and measures successful students empowered for school and life, Northgate High School is really focused on college and career readiness as an emphasis in our school improvement plan for the 22-23 school year. Part of this focus is we strive to provide our students with real-life application and engaging activities to make sure that their content comes to life. Part of this is done through the partnerships and collaboration to create excellence experiences for every student. Today, we have Shannon McCoon, who is the department chair for our Family Consumer Science Department, and also Ms. Brandy Cruz, who's our Northgate cafeteria manager. For years, the two have been collaborating to provide opportunities for students to see standards come to life in a real workspace to gain experience with industrial kitchens and industrial service. So this evening, I'd like to present Ms. McCoon, Ms. Cruz, and two of our students, Armala Kane and Tamias Chapman, who are here to share one of the examples of this collaboration.
So thank you, Ms. Wilkes. Thank you for having us here. Recognizing the importance of students being able to cook meals in an environment that keeps their food safe for consumption is a huge focus in the food and nutrition pathway. And in level 3, with mostly 11th and 12th grade, there's a larger focus on sanitation in a commercial kitchen. So in order to master one of our standards in food science, Ms. Cruz and I did collaborate together to try to get exposure to students in a commercial kitchen. So in Standard 3, students investigate measures used to produce safe and wholesome food under sanitary conditions. Students who do not have restaurant experience or any background to pull from sometimes struggle with the understanding and grasping these larger concepts of cleanliness and sanitation set by the industry. So I will let Ms. Cruz share the details of the activities and the tour that she gave students. While she's doing that, Ms. Wilkes and I are going to be passing out the parfaits and also the recipe and activity sheets that she'll be talking about.
So we start our collaboration with a tour of the kitchen. The students get to come in and get a feel for the size and the scale of a functional commercial kitchen, which is really neat for them when they've never seen something on such a big scale. They get to see cooking, cleaning, and serving in real time. During our tour, I went over topics such as FIFO, which stands for first in, first out, and the importance of stock rotation, delivery safety and inspections of all delivered goods, record keeping of temperatures, and proper sanitation in the kitchen. The students were then able to prepare one of our school nutrition recipes, which is the blueberry parfaits you see. Each group was given the recipe, ingredients, measuring tools, and they had to work together to prepare this, and then they got to taste test it. The goal was to show students how commercial kitchens operate and for students to gain a better understanding of the guidelines used by the industry. The tour of the cafeteria connects the lessons to real life and the implications that it has on the foods they eat.
Hi, my name is Armala Kane, and I'm in Ms. McCoon's class for food science. And in our class, we learn how to socialize with different individuals, and she pushes us out of our comfort zone to converse and work with each other. And my favorite thing about the class is cooking different foods every week. Every Thursday, we cook different foods in our kitchen. And then what I learned about the activity we did going through the kitchen was that if you're looking to go in through something with food, that is very important that you clean and sanitize and you do what you're supposed to do in the kitchen, because you do not want a foodborne illness. Ooh, there's sore throat, fever, jaundice. You don't want that. So just do what you need to do if you're in the food industry. And my goals for the future is I want to become a nurse, so I love helping people. It was either going to be a nurse or a veterinarian because I just like to help. So yes, I want to go to a community college and start off there, and then I'm going to start as an RN, and I want to go back to school and get my bachelor's and work my way up. So yes.
Hi, my name is Tobias Chapman, and I'm also with Ms. McCoon. My favorite thing about the class, well, really the same thing as what Amala said, cooking every Thursday and helping out. The activity taught me to learn how to do food safety and, and it just taught me to hold people to a higher standard. Just who wants nasty food on their plates? My future goals are to create a center that helps people of all shapes, sizes, and ethnicities to gain their own home access and learn how to prepare the food on their tables. And yes.
I would like to make a comment. As the mother of a teenage daughter, I can totally appreciate the blueberry yogurt parfait taste test. Because in an appearance, texture, taste, or recipe difficulty, the categories are bussin', Gucci, basic, or nah, fam. And that is 100% fantastic because we are to meet kids where they are, right? That is what we do. And I think this is fabulous. I'm going to save this.
Karen, I want to also point out that at least some of your board members, probably all of our board members, make great tasters and judges for things, so, you know. if you ever
I was
need
gonna
us,
say the
we're,
same thing.
We're ready, you know, so.
What has been y'all's favorite thing so far to cook on a Thursday?
Well, we recently just started cooking,
Okay.
but actually, my group, we just did a competition for milkshakes. We won, so.
What kind of milkshake did you make?
It was called Dirt and Worms. It was like a chocolate milkshake. It had like Oreos crushed up in it with like icing around it with crushed up Oreos around it and gummy worms out of it, and something called a Oreo cheesecake. My friend Madison made it. It's really good. You should try it.
Thank
There's those gourmet milkshakes, like the massive ones. They did a great job.
Well, first off, great job, guys. Ms. McCoon, Ms. Cruz, thank you so much for what you're doing to bring relevance to work for our kids, to make those connections. I always laugh. I tell people when I was over at cafeterias, it changed the way that I ate out. You check that health score. You guys are learning that so much earlier than I did, and it's because of real life, relevant experience. So thank you for what you do. Great job, guys.
Thank you.
Is there a motion to approve the minutes of the February 14th, 2023 meeting?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? Is there a motion to approve the called minutes February 28th, 2023?
So move.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? I'm abstaining because I was absent. Action items, Group 1, Dr. Horton.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The first action item I have for you in Group 1 tonight is to approve an intergovernmental agreement for paving at Brooks Elementary and Eastside Elementary School. Approval of an intergovernmental agreement between Coweta County and the Coweta County School System for the construction of additional stacking lanes at Brooks Elementary and Eastside Elementary Schools. These schools are in need of additional driveway lanes to prevent traffic from backing up onto public roads during arrival and dismissal times. The estimated project cost is $391,318.78. A copy of the intergovernmental agreement and supporting documentation is attached. Board members, just remind you that oftentimes, especially during the summer, through these intergovernmental agreements, we can tack on to projects that other governmental entities are doing, such as the county in this case, to save us money and to save us time as far as mobilizing equipment and whatnot. These projects at these two schools, Brooks for several years, especially at dismissal time in the afternoons, we have traffic that gets out oftentimes all the way out to Jim Star Road. So this additional stacking lane will help us there. And then if you've ever been to East Side, it sits on a corner there of East Side School Road and Old Highway 85, and we have the same issues there. So we really feel like these two projects will help us with traffic flow. So with those comments, I recommend approval.
You've heard the recommendation of the superintendent to approve an intergovernmental agreement for paving at Brooks Elementary and Eastside Elementary School. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second. Second, thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries 7-0.
The next action item I have for you in Group 1 is to approve contingency adjustment request number 14 to provide a separate water meter vault at Noonan High School. Approval is requested for a contingency adjustment to cover the cost to provide a separate vault for the 4-inch water meter on Cougar Way. During the plan review process, Noonan Utilities required that a separate vault be provided for the water meter on Cougar Way. Southern A&E issued addendum number 8 to cover this additional scope. The plumbing contractor did not include addendum number 8 in the site utility bid. Parish has reviewed the bid documents, verified that this scope of work was not covered in the bid. The cost to provide the vault on Armory Road is $34,553. The contingency adjustment proposal and supporting documentation is attached. Mr. Chair, I recommend approval.
You've heard the recommendation of the superintendent to approve contingency adjustment request number 14 to provide a separate water meter vault. Is there a motion to approve?
So move.
Second.
Any discussion? I'll ask one thing, Dr. Horton, that we briefly spoke about. So previously, there was just one water meter vault. Is that correct?
That's my understanding. This is an additional. So there previously was one. This will make number 2.
Thank you. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries 7-0.
The next action item I have for you in Group 1 is a Noonan High School course request for AP Pre-Calculus. Approval is requested to add AP Pre-Calculus at Noonan High School. Mr. Chair, I recommend approval.
You've heard the recommendation of the superintendent to approve the Noonan High School course request AP Pre-Calculus. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion?
Dr. Horton, is there a teacher there to fulfill that role now?
Yes, ma'am. I'm just glad you didn't ask me about AP Pre-Calculus. Whew.
That's what I was asking.
I got nervous for a minute. Yes, ma'am.
Just to
There
ensure
is
we
a.
already have coverage for that class?
We actually sat, Mr. Bass and the HR staff sat with Noonan High School administrators and counselors today to do staffing, and we do have a teacher for the course when it has already made based on registrations.
Any other discussion? All right, all those in favor? Motion carries 7-0.
The next action item I have for you in Group 1 is to approve an intergovernmental agreement with Coweta County for surveillance video access. Approval is requested to enter into an intergovernmental agreement with Coweta County to allow for surveillance video access by E911. A copy of the intergovernmental agreement is attached. Board members, this is something we've been working on for several years, and we're able to do it at this time because of an approval you made recently to update our surveillance camera systems, our servers. If we approve this intergovernmental agreement, it will allow E911 in the event that we have an event at a school and need eyes on the inside of the building. It will allow camera access at the Emergency Operations Center. So it's going to really help us. It's an upgrade in the area of safety, and I recommend approval.
You've heard the recommendation of the superintendent to approve an intergovernmental agreement with Coweta County for surveillance video access. Is there a motion to approve?
So move.
Second.
Any discussion?
Dr. Horton, when would that become available to the 911?
Immediately.
Okay.
We'll be able to add it immediately.
Any other discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries 7-0.
The final action item I have for you in Group 1 is to approve a utility easement agreement with Georgia Power Company at Moreland Elementary School. Approval is requested to execute a utility easement with Georgia Power Company to provide power to mobile classrooms at Moreland Elementary School. A copy of the easement is attached. Mr. Chair, I recommend approval.
You've heard the recommendation of the superintendent to approve a utility easement agreement with Georgia Power Company at Moreland Elementary School. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries 7-0. There are no action items in Group 2. Group 3 trips. Dr. Horton.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. At this time, I'll call on Assistant Superintendent Dr. Mark Guy to bring your trip. Dr. Guy.
Thank you, Dr. Horton. The principal of East Coweta High School requests permission for the rifle team to attend the All-Service Junior Reserve Officer Training Corps Championships in Port Clinton, Ohio on March 22nd through March 26, 2023. Students will miss 3 days of school. There is no cost to the school system. This request does meet our out-of-state field trip guidelines.
Recommend approval.
You've heard the recommendation of the superintendent to approve the East Coweta High School field trip. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries 7-0. Superintendent's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. At this time, I'll call on Assistant Superintendent for Finance, Mr. Keith Chapman, to bring your budget report and sales tax. Mr. Chapman?
Financial report, similar situation as we were last month, over just slightly for the month, just over $300,000 for the year. However, we've completed 66.67% of the year, but only expended 65.44% of the budget. So we're still in good shape looking toward the end of the year. Sales tax, just over $2.8 million. While this is a significant decrease from last month, it's still an increase over the same month last year. Historically, we see a dip in collections this time of year.
Thank you, Mr. Chapman. Once again, I'll call on Dr. Mark Guy to bring you staff and student attendance and board goal report. Dr. Guy.
Thank you, Dr. Horton. For the 6th attendance reporting period, the highest staff attendance goes to Western Elementary School. The highest student attendance in the program area, the Central Educational Center. Highest elementary student attendance, Arbor Springs Elementary. Highest middle school student attendance, Blake Bass Middle School. And the highest high school student attendance, Northgate High School, home of the Vikings. I'd like to recognize Ms. Ruth Scott, who is going to bring you our board goal for this evening.
Good evening, board members, superintendent, and Coweta community members. I'm here to report on the successful implementation of the Signs of Suicide program in our middle and high schools. This was definitely an enormous undertaking. And I really want to give special thanks to all of our middle and high school counselors because they coordinated and facilitated this very, very important message, teaching kids to A, acknowledge the signs of suicide in their peers, C, show them that they care, and the T, tell a safe adult. So starting in September of 2022, our middle school students, 6th through 8th grade, received the SOS lesson. Each school is very different, as you know, and the delivery really varied between the buildings. In some cases, the counselors went to each individual classroom to deliver the lesson in a small group fashion over the course of several weeks. In other cases, they gathered larger teams of students in the cafeteria and completed the lessons in a large group. I even shared the lesson online for the Empower students in individual classes as well. But regardless of the method of delivery, around 5,100 middle school students participated in that program. We only had about 184 middle school students opt out. So those are great numbers. In high school, the delivery and response was a little more complicated, right? We have more students and more classes and teachers to coordinate. So Noonan High School actually shut down their entire campus on September 20th and had all of the first block teachers share the lesson first thing in the morning. And with this was on their main campus, just 10th through 12th grade. They only had 50 students opt out of about 1,500. So that's really excellent as well. This was very effective as far as completing it, but it was definitely overwhelming for the school counselors as far as their response with kids who were experiencing warning signs of suicide. Noonan High School only had 40 students opt out of their 9th grade on their Cougar Village campus. So learning from the Noonan High School experience, East Coweta decided to just target 10th and 11th grade during their mentor groups during first block. We had 650 students respond to the survey after the lesson, and of those, only 10 were considered at risk. East Coweta had only about 25 students opt out. Northgate focused on their 9th grade students through their health and personal fitness classes, and East Coweta will continue to do that moving forward as well. Overall, close to 8,000 students in Coweta County participated in the Signs of Suicide program. Next year, we will reach even more as we learn on how to deliver it. I really want to thank you all, board members, for your commitment to this very, very important message. Several school counselors have already shared with me that they're seeing more students coming to them with concerns about their friends showing signs of suicide. And I'm also actually really excited to report that the Chick-fil-A Leadership Academy at East Coweta High School has decided to host a 5K on April 29th to continue to raise awareness for suicide prevention within the community and our schools. So all funds raised will go to the Coweta Family Connection, and they will be funding more suicide prevention trainings among our community, not just with students. So this is, I believe, a cause that we can all get behind, and I would love to see you all there bright and early on the 29th, dressed, ready to run. I'm sure I will see you again in the near future to advocate for more prevention and early intervention programs that focus on improving our student mental health. I'm certainly not done yet. But thank you again for your support and for helping us foster a safe and positive learning environment focused on the whole child, right? Addressing academic, physical, social, emotional, and mental health. Thanks.
Facilities report. Last thing I have for you, board members, is a facilities and construction report. You can see Northgate, we have made application for final payment. Those have been submitted. So we're closing out both the addition and the renovation there at Northgate. Fire alarms, installation of wiring and devices substantially complete at Madras Middle School. And fire alarm panels are scheduled to be delivered on or about April the 19th, with project completion there scheduled for April. New item last month was softball field house at East Coweta, Northgate, and Noonan. We're going to be adding locker room space at East Coweta and renovating and modifying some of the space at Northgate and Noonan High. The Southern A&E and Mr. Cheek been working really hard on the design for those projects. Noonan High School is still the biggie for us. You can see there BP1 will end up doing some more underground utilities during the school breaks. Bid package 2, which is the gym, they're finishing up structural steel. Those masonry walls are still going. Mechanical, electrical, and plumbing rough ends are proceeding, and I think we have, weather permitting, pretty big concrete pour scheduled for the bottom level of the gymnasium later this week or early next week. BP3, which I always refer to as the academic buildings, we were out there today with a group, and grading operations continue as they can. The foundation wall is extending to what I think is the north side of the building. If I'm not totally turned around, we have the foundation wall for the east side, and it is now extending around toward the north side, which is the old front, the front of the old building there. So that work is ongoing. Everything is still on track. Weather has continued to give us fits, as it typically does this time of year, but the project is going very smoothly, and everything is on track for now. So with that, Mr. Chair, that's all I have.
Thank you, Dr. Horton. There are no board comments, there are no public comments tonight, but I do thank everyone in the audience and online who is tuned in to this important meeting. I'll turn it over for board comments.
I'd like to take just a moment to recognize, and I know we mentioned her earlier, but Miss Sue Brown, she passed away last month. Dear friend of mine. It's such a loss for me. I wanted to pick up the phone the other day to tell her about the All-State Chorus kids, because that's something that we always talked about. So to know that she took this seat and recognized everything she did on what was best for students, and she will be greatly missed. I know my fellow board members, I can probably speak on behalf of all of them about how much we adored and loved Miss Sue. I wanted to say a special thank you to the Zeta Phi Beta sorority that came in with those flowers for me. Thank you. It does not go unnoticed, the great work that you guys do for our students, the scholarships and everything. I was honored when I got your email this month to be recognized as one of the women in Coweta County. Thank you so much. We appreciate all of your hard work. And with that, I would like to appreciate my fellow board members that are sitting before me tonight. It is National School Board Appreciation Week. And as a District 6 director with GSBA, I would also like to thank them for letting me have that position. I will be running for that position again on Thursday. I serve with the Georgia School Board Association representing District 6 because they have let me do that. And I want to say thank you to them, and I appreciate you.
Thank you, Ms. Dees. Any other board comments?
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, I got a short comment. Ms. Scott, I want to thank you for the work that you and, like you said, all the counselors and the staff put into the suicide prevention. I'm sure it was not an easy task to pull off. I was very passionate about that when we approved that curriculum months ago, whenever that was, and was glad to see it implemented. And I'm the one that had asked for, that information, a month or so ago, and was very pleased to see that came off well, and there's been some response to it. So thank you, and certainly appreciate that. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Glover. Any other comments?
Mr. Chair, I do have, if the board's finished, if anybody else.
No, I think you're good. You're
All
good.
right, I was going to, before we get out of here, wanted to make sure, bring to everybody's attention, tonight is Mr. Bass, Vince Bass. It's his last board meeting before he retires at the end of the month. And he probably stepped out of the room because he had a feeling I might say something. But I did not want to let his last board meeting with you pass without me mentioning him. Vince has been in the system for well over 30 years. He's been at Noonan High, Northgate, Madras. He was principal at Madras for a while, Atkinson Elementary, Evans Middle School. For the better part of the last 15 years, he's been at central office as both the HR director and then as assistant superintendent for human resources. I will tell you, and I know I've shared with many of you privately, Vince, he hired me at Northgate back in the year 2000, took me from Noonan to Northgate, and he took time at that time to pour into me and nurture me and set me on a path to, number one, be the best teacher I could be at the time. And he demanded that, but also he began to plant the seed for me to go into administration. You fast forward a few years, and instead of me working for Vince, as fate would have it, Vince was working with me. And he has for the last 3, now going on 4 years, he has, for me, been as solid as a rock. He's someone that I know I can always go to with anything, and he's going to listen, and he's going to do what's best for this school system and what's best for kids. I wanted to make sure to say that about him publicly, even though he may want to fight me when I walk out in the hall. We're going to miss Vince Bass, and Vince Bass is a big part of this school system. So I just want to say that before we get out of here tonight. With that, I'm done.
Thank you, Dr. Horton. Is there a motion to approve to enter into executive session to discuss personnel, real estate, and potential litigation?
So move.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries 7-0.